What's up, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. Basketball is back, and you can feel in the air. We've made it through the long, weird stretch of off-season rumors, preseason overreactions, and media drama. But now it's game time. Tomorrow, the NBA returns. Real games, real minutes, real narratives. It's like Christmas Eve for hoop heads. Actually, scratch that. It's NBA Eve, and let's be honest, that's even better. We've got two matchups to kick things off. The Rockets versus the Thunder, which comes with a heavy dose of emotion as Kevin Durant makes a return to OKC for ring night. And then, of course, the NBA can't resist putting the Lakers and Warriors on national television to get the season rolling. And the very next day, it's go time for the Boston Celtics. They open their season against the Philadelphia 76ers in what's already shaping up to be one of the most intriguing matchups of the week. Early reports have confirmed that Paul George will be out for the Sixers, which is huge. But we did see Joel Embiid get some solid preseason run recently. And from the looks of it, he's ready to go. The dude played angry. Like, I've got something to prove kind of angry. He dropped 14 points, grabbed 7 rebounds, dished out 6 assists, and looked every bit like a dominant force in limited minutes. Then after the game, he hits the media with a quote like, "People don't even have me in the top 100 anymore." Now let's be real here. No one's saying Joel Embiid isn't talented. No one is saying he's not dominant. The problem isn't his skill, it's availability. If fans, analysts, or anyone thought he was going to suit up for 60-plus games a year, he'd be in every top 10 list without question. But when you're constantly in and out of the lineup, it's tough to build that momentum. That's not hate. That's not disrespect. That's just reality. The man's body has betrayed him more than any voter has. Anyway, we're fired up to be back. This season is going to be wild, and we've got a lot to break down. But before we jump into Celtics outlook, we've got to address this little storyline that just won't go away. It involves the Celtics media game. Yeah, you heard that right. A media basketball game between reporters and the Celtics coaching staff. You've probably seen the clips by now. Mazzulla and his guys absolutely ran the media crew off the court. The final score was something ridiculous, like 57-4 or whatever it ended up being. Total domination. Now look, I thought the whole thing was hilarious. Genuinely. Not in a mean-spirited way, but in the way where both sides clearly had fun. Joe Mazzulla even explained the point of the game was to humanize both sides. Coaches and media sharing the court, building some rapport, taking a few shots, and hopefully gaining a little respect for what the other side does. Seems harmless, right? Most people thought so. The reporters who played in it all seemed to have a good time. Some even gained a bit of media exposure from it. They turned it into content, and it made for some great clips and solid pieces. Everyone came out a winner. But then came the take that blew it all up. One media executive, someone who's not just behind the scenes, but runs a media platform and teaches media, came out and said that this whole thing was bullying. That's right. He called the game bullying. And I thought, okay, maybe this is a bit of satire, right? A spicy take to get some engagement, maybe poke a little fun at how lopsided the score was. But nah, he was serious. Dead serious. And listen, we got to calm down. This wasn't some high school hazing ritual. It was a basketball game. And if you're getting cooked by assistant coaches, maybe it's a sign you should spend more time on the treadmill before challenging professional-level athletes. It's okay to not like Joe Mazzulla. It's okay to think he's not the right coach for the Celtics. You can critique his decisions, his media presence, or how he handles press conferences. But calling this a form of bullying? That just feels like a stretch, especially when none of the people involved had any complaints. In fact, some of the same people being bullied were also on ESPN later that week, talking about the game and laughing about it. They got airtime. They got engagement. They got attention. That's a win in the media world. If anything, this event is catching on. We're already seeing other teams jump on board. Jared Dudley and the Denver Nuggets? They're doing it. The Raptors? Considering it. It's turning into a little preseason tradition, a way to break the tension before the grind begins. So instead of taking it so personally, maybe just accept that it's a goofy, fun tradition that brought everyone closer. All right, enough of that. Let's shift gears and talk real basketball. Because the Boston Celtics are about to enter one of the most important stretches of their season right off the bat. The first 10 games? They matter. A lot. We're going to learn so much in just those 10 games. We'll get a better sense of the rotation, which lineups work, and more importantly, whether this team is for real or not. And yeah, I know people will say it's a long season, that October and November don't define anything, but I disagree. These first 2 months are going to tell us whether the front office needs to make a move by the trade deadline, whether Tatum can take the next leap, whether the depth is as thin as it looks. And with how unpredictable the Eastern Conference might be this year, every win counts. Even the so-called easy games are going to matter because this Celtics team doesn't have the same margin for error that it had last season. This group is talented, no doubt, but it's not deep in the same way. A couple of injuries, a couple of bad shooting nights, and things can snowball quickly. So let's talk about those first 10 games. Opening night, it's Boston versus Philadelphia. The Celtics are slight favorites, 2.5 points, which might not seem like much, but to me, that line says Jaylen Brown is good to go. And yes, I know there hasn't been an official update. He tweaked his hamstring in the final preseason game, and Missoula said he was participating in everything except live ball drills. But if Jaylen wasn't playing, that line would not be 2.5. Vegas knows. Trust the line. Jaylen's playing. And assuming that, we're probably looking at a starting 5 of Peyton Pritchard, Derek White, Jaylen Brown, Chris Bush, shout out to Waterboy, and then Neemias Queta at center. That's your starting group. Then off the bench, you've got Anthony Simons, Josh Howard, maybe Xavier Tillman or Luka Garza getting the first big man minutes. The 8-man rotation looks like it's coming into focus. Meanwhile, Philly's in a weird spot. No Paul George, which leaves them short on wings. Their preseason finale showed a starting lineup of TYRESE MAXEY, VJ Edgecombe, Kelly Oubre, Adem Bona, and Joel Embiid. That's a mix of youth, athleticism, and some serious size. But outside of Embiid and Maxey, there's a lot of question marks. Quentin Grimes will come off the bench, Jabari Walker might get some minutes, and of course, Andre Drummond is still hanging around. But there's a lot of ifs with this squad. So yeah, this opener is going to be a test, especially for Queta. Guarding Joel Embiid is a brutal assignment for anyone, let alone a young big still finding his NBA rhythm. He's going to have to stay disciplined, avoid early fouls, and do his best to make Embiid work for everything. Because if Queta picks up 2 quick ones and Garza has to come in and guard Embiid for extended minutes, it's going to be a long night. After that Philly game, the Celtics are hitting the road and things start to heat up quickly. Next stop, Madison Square Garden to take on the Knicks. You already know how that atmosphere is going to be. Friday night in New York, that place is going to be jumping. And honestly, I think the Celtics are going to drop this one. Not because the Knicks are necessarily better, but it's just one of those spots in the schedule. It's early in the season, energy is high, and the Knicks are always ready to make a statement on their home floor. Jalen Brunson, Julius Randle, Josh Hart, all those guys are going to be locked in. So we're 1-1 now, and then comes a back-to-back road stretch that might sound easy on paper, but it's anything but. Sunday against the Pistons in Detroit, and then Monday night down in New Orleans to face the Pelicans. Now look, I know Detroit's still rebuilding, still figuring things out, but that young squad has energy. Cade Cunningham's healthy. Jaden Ivey's explosive. And if Jalen Duren takes even a small leap, that's a tough game, especially if it's their home opener. It's the kind of trap game where you think you've got the edge, but if you're not fully engaged, you're walking out of there with a loss. Then the very next night, it's the Pelicans. And here's the thing about New Orleans. When they're healthy, they're scary. Zion Williamson is still one of the most unstoppable forces in the league when he's actually on the floor. Add in Trey Murphy, Herb Jones, and Brandon Ingram, and that's a problem. That's too much length and athleticism to take lightly. So I'm looking at this stretch and thinking the Celtics probably split those 2 games. Maybe they handle Detroit, but fall to New Orleans, or vice versa. Either way, through 4 games, we're looking at a 2-2 record, which isn't bad at all considering the travel and competition. Now, if they manage to go 3-1 during that stretch, that's a huge win. But I'm going to keep it conservative here and say 2-2 through 4. Then we come back home, and next up is Cleveland. Now, the Cavs have their own question marks. Darius Garland's coming back from injury. Jarrett Allen is trying to bounce back, and we're still not sure how that frontcourt pairing with Evan Mobley is going to evolve. But that's still a tough team. Donovan Mitchell is a walking bucket. If they're hitting shots and playing with pace, they could be a nightmare matchup. Boston tends to play well at home, but I still think Cleveland can sneak one out if the Celtics aren't at full strength or if someone's having an off night. So let's say 2-3 after that one. Not ideal, but not a disaster either. Especially when the next game is a chance to bounce back in a big way. Halloween night in Philadelphia for the Celtics' first in-season tournament game. No Paul George, still, and the Sixers are trying to find chemistry on the fly. This is a golden opportunity for Boston to punch back, especially after possibly dropping one to Cleveland. I think they rise to the occasion and steal this one on the road. That brings us back to even 3-3. Next up, the Houston Rockets at TD Garden. And look, I don't know if people are ready for Houston this year. This team is young, but they've got real pieces. Jalen Green, Alperen Sengun, Jabari Smith Jr., and now they've got some vets like Fred VanVleet to give them structure. The Rockets are going to surprise people, and that's exactly why I'm a little nervous about this matchup. They've got firepower, and if Boston comes in lazy or overconfident, that could be another L. I think this is a real coin flip. But let's be honest, it's hard to trust young teams on the road early in the season. I'll give Boston the edge at home, barely. 4-3. Then we get the Utah Jazz, another home game. Now, the Jazz are scrappy, but this is a game the Celtics should absolutely win. They've got to beat teams like Utah if they're going to stay afloat in the East. That's one of those matchups where your stars have to take over, impose their will, and get the job done. 5-3 now. Then comes the Wizards, and that's another must-win. Washington's in a full rebuild. They're going to lose a lot of games, and if the Celtics are serious, they handle this one from the jump. That takes us to 6-3. And now we're looking at game number 10, another in-season tournament matchup, this time against the Orlando Magic. And you want to talk about sneaky tough teams? Orlando's right there. Paolo Banchero's coming into his own. Franz Wagner is one of the most underrated young wings in the league. And that defense? They're no joke. Plus, they've got size. Wendell Carter Jr., Jonathan Isaac, if he's actually healthy, and M.O. Wagner off the bench. This is a tough, physical group that's trying to make a statement in the East. I think this is the game where we see what kind of identity the Celtics are building. If they're 6-3 going into this one, the confidence should be high. But this is where fatigue can creep in. It's a long opening stretch, lots of travel, lots of new faces figuring things out. I'm going to say they dropped this one in Orlando and finished the first 10 games at 6-4. And honestly, I'd take that. 6-4 with the competition they've faced, with guys still adjusting to their roles, with Jaylen Brown coming off a tweak and a front court that's still gelling. That's a solid start, because those 6 wins wouldn't be flukes. You'd have beaten Philly twice, taken care of business against the Jazz and Wizards, and maybe even stolen one on the road. That's the kind of early stretch that builds momentum. But before we continue, please remember to subscribe to the channel and give the video a like. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest news about the Boston Celtics. Feel free to share your thoughts on the news in the comments as well. In what could be one of the most shocking moves of the NBA offseason, TYRESE MAXEY has reportedly turned down a contract extension with his current team and is setting his sights on the Boston Celtics. Sources close to the situation suggest that the young guard, who has been a rising star in the league, is looking for a new challenge and believes that the Celtics offer the perfect environment to elevate his game. While nothing has been officially confirmed, whispers around the league hint that MAXEY's decision might be influenced by both the team's championship ambitions and the opportunity to play alongside some of the league's elite talents. Inside sources claim that MAXEY has been weighing his options for weeks, carefully considering both financial terms and the potential for on-court success. The Celtics, known for their storied history and consistent playoff appearances, reportedly see MAXEY as a perfect fit for their backcourt rotation. He's got the talent and the drive that Boston loves, one source familiar with the team's front office said. If he comes here, he could instantly become one of the cornerstones of the roster. While MAXEY has been praised for his scoring ability and poise under pressure, some analysts are questioning whether the move is purely strategic or driven by a desire for a fresh start. Rumors suggest that negotiations between MAXEY and his current team hit a standstill over contract length and guaranteed money, opening the door for Boston to swoop in. The Celtics, who have been quietly exploring ways to bolster their guard positions, reportedly made MAXEY a priority the moment they sensed tension in his current negotiations. Fans across the NBA are already buzzing with speculation. Social media threads are filling up with debates over how MAXEY would mesh with the Celtics' current lineup and whether his addition could finally push the team over the championship hump. While executives remain tight-lipped, the energy around this potential move is undeniable. If MAXEY does officially join Boston, it could signal a new era for both the player and the franchise, turning whispers into a headline-grabbing reality. As the offseason continues, all eyes will be on MAXEY and the Celtics, with the basketball world waiting to see if this tantalizing rumor becomes one of the most talked-about moves of the year. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the Boston Celtics, please subscribe to our channel and give the video a like. We always appreciate your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.